Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Hanukkah, because Hanukkah actually starts on Christmas this year. Very late in the year for that. Just thought I'd throw that little bit out there. I was trying to I always like to look at when it starts because I know about it, but I don't know like every detail in the world because I don't celebrate it. But I appreciate it, and I want to say Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas to everybody. Not sure my green screen is jacked up today, guys, but it's Christmas, so I anticipate this being one of the lowest listening out episodes I had or I've done so far this year, with only one more episode to go of the year. Wow. Actually, wait a minute. This is the last episode of the year. This is absolutely the last episode of the year. Next Wednesday, when I drop the next episode, it's the first episode of 2025. And we got a lot going on in 2025. There's a lot of changes to the podcast happening. Good ones. I think it's going to be beneficial. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen with TikTok, and TikTok has been a huge piece of my podcasting tools, marketing, advertising, connections, and all that. And we really don't know what's going to happen. I mean, yes, January 19th is the day that TikTok is banned from the United States. So Apple, Google, all those stores will be asked to remove the app. It doesn't mean that it's going to just disappear off your phone and you'll never be able to use it. You will still be able to use it if you currently have an account and you have it downloaded on your phone. However, I don't know how long that's going to last. And I say that because of the updates. Because any app at some point is going to need bug fixes and updates. And eventually you will not be able to update that. And we could talk about the ways around that and VPNs and all that, but we're not going into that. Eventually you'll not be able to update that. Now, personally, I think that it's going to be stopped. I think that we will have TikTok. There's a lot of things that lead me to believe that this is not going to happen. There's a lot of things that lead me to believe that, they're going to delay it so that it's still going to happen, but it's going to be delayed. And then again, I could be completely delusional. I think the whole thing is, I've talked about it. I've done trash talk episodes about it. I've done posts about it. I've done podcasts about it. You know how I feel. I think the whole thing is a big, complete censorship, information control. It's hypocrisy. And to the older, it's not even older generation, to the other people out there that sit there and think they're like, no, they're protecting us. You're being naive. You're just being so naive that it's not even funny anymore. Because the same thing that they're complaining about TikTok about, look at what Facebook does. Look at what Amazon does, Google, iPhone, like all these people. So can we just stop with this? But this is not what this episode's about. I kind of wanted to look at, the ghost of Christmas past. I wanted to talk about some of the Christmas memories I have, some of the fun things. And one of them I have to talk about is buying a Christmas tree. 13 years ago, I moved to Texas. And within that, I think it was definitely a year. I got a job at a bar. Well, I had a job before that in the year. I got a job within months, but like 2. But this was a new bar that I was at, and it was one that I really enjoyed. It was one of the first bars I fell in love with here in Texas. It had such a cool vibe and feel, and I met so many great people there. Really started my connections in the bar scene of Texas and forming those relationships, and really connecting into what exploded into the local craft beer scene in Texas. And, some of those business relationships I still use today. And they've come in, I hate to say handy, but yeah, they've come in handy at my current job. So this bar has a lot of memories. Unfortunately, it has a lot of bad memories too. It has a lot of things that really dragged me down, that happened in life that dragged me down. I met some amazing people that unfortunately are no longer in my life. And I met some people that I thought would be in my life. and they're not. And that's just how life is. So I'm not upset about that. But that is what happened. But there were some great memories, and one of these was the first Christmas. And I remember doing the week before we bought the tree. We started decorating. We had all kinds of decorations, garland and lights and just wreaths and the old English style Christmas. I don't know what that is behind me, dude. It's a I think it's a white wall. It's like this one part of my look at that. I don't know. Anyway, um, we had all these old English style beers. It was just such a cool vibe because you would go in and we had a fireplace and couches and it felt like you were not in Texas because luckily the first year and the first 2 years I was in Texas, we got snow and ice and wind and it was actually like a winter. But one of the coolest things about this was you could be inside this pub and the darkness and the fireplace was lit and the music was playing and you felt like you were not in Texas. You felt like maybe you were in England. Um, we felt like um, maybe you were in, let me adjust this there. Maybe you were in another state, another country. You didn't know what was going on outside because you were in your own entity, your own world, this snow globe of fun and good beer and good people. And I did a customer, not customer appreciation party. I did a customer ugly sweater party. Excuse me. But I took time because I knew we were about to be busy, and we closed early one night on a Wednesday, I think it was, and I did a employee appreciation party, and I got with my liquor reps, my beer reps, um, got all kinds of bottles, free stuff that we could just drink and not take out of our own stash. I had prizes and gifts for everybody. We had the pool tables, we had the ping pong tables, just good times. Food was catered to us by Jets. It was the first Jets pizza that was uh, opened in Texas, and I knew the owner because I knew him back in Michigan. Long story there, and he provided all of the pizzas, the breadsticks, sodas, everything. I'm gonna move this stupid screen, man. Everything he adjusted or provided for us, and it was great. We just had a great. Do you see that? That's not even my bed, guys. That's like some weird ghost wall. I'm gonna get rid of it. Oh, it's driving me insane. Oh my god. Oh, yep, it's driving me insane. Okay, it's a freaking ghost wall, guys. You know what? I don't want to redo this today, so I'm just gonna sit in front of it. Screw you guys. Um, but hey, it's the last pot of the year. Who cares, right? Last time. So we did this really fun party, and then after that, one of my right hand guys there was like, dude, we need a Christmas tree. And we had an old Christmas tree. And it was, I don't even know if it had all the parts. It was freaking disgusting. And I was like, we need to get a real Christmas tree. We need to get a real one. I am losing my mind on this flashing. It is obsessing me right now. Um, and I'm going to shoot somebody today with a Nerf gun because I have a Nerf gun right in front of me. I might shoot my cat. Um, So um, I was like, we got to get a Christmas tree. There's nothing that I can do in this Christmas tree, like for this Christmas tree, to make it look any better than it already is. This Christmas tree is worse than Charlie Brown's. At least Charlie Brown's was real and had some weird character to it. This is garbage. This is like a meth head Christmas tree. And what I did was I Amazon was there, but it definitely was not as get it the next day as you do now, or even same day. I could have got it, but I was like looking at the price, and I was like, man, there's a local Boy Scout group down the street that is selling Christmas trees, real ones, and I love real Christmas trees. Why don't we just go down there? We're supporting a good cause. We're supporting a good charity or a good organization. Well, maybe just good kids. And I gotta fix this, guys. This is pissing me off more than anything itself, guys. I'm gonna fix this stupid. Great. I think it's my cat. You know what? Fucking Jesus. Merry Christmas. I think it's better, guys. Let me slide this here. Okay. Anyway, so let's just go take care of this. Let's go get a Christmas tree. So we went down the street. Now it was not far, okay? It was not miles down the road. I didn't have my car because I walked to work because I lived across the street. My car wasn't going to fit anything in it. Nobody had a car to fit the Christmas tree in. I'm like, why don't we just carry it? But we didn't know how big of a one we were going to get. So we get down there, we start looking. By the way, real trees are not cheap, but whatever. We start looking, and most of them were really kind of beat up. And I'm like, well, no wonder nobody's helping these Boy Scouts. They're selling Christmas trees at a huge price, like $40, that aren't even that good. They're as bad as the meth tree I have, you know? And we found one. And it was nice. A little skinny, but green, smelled good. We love the smell of Christmas trees. Little tall, a little taller than we wanted. How are we going to get it? They wrapped it for us. We don't have anything to put on the roof. We're going to stick it in the car. To put in perspective, my man drove a Mini Cooper. By the way, the cover, like if you guys are listening to this instead of watching it, or you're searching for it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that is an actual picture of the Mini Cooper with the tree coming out of it. So we stick it in a Mini Cooper. Gotta be the most awkward thing because it's sticking out. The one part's going out the window, kind of. So he's like, well, I got to put it behind my head so I can drive. And I'm like, well, let's switch it and let it go out my window. It took us like 30 minutes to figure out how to manipulate this thing. Nobody offered any help. We should have just carried it and walked back to the car. But it started raining, and it was that freezing sleet rain. And we didn't feel like walking down about a mile with a Christmas tree. So we drove it in the Mini Cooper, and we drove it back to the pub. And we undid it and decorated it. And I got to tell you, the freaking tree was a hit. It was great. And what was really cool about it was we had, there was the craft beer scene in Texas at the time was not nearly what it is now, especially in the DFW. There was probably maybe like 16 breweries at the time, you know, and then within a couple of years, there was like 65. And I don't even know how many there are right now that I can keep track of. But they were in that explosion. So we had local breweries that were giving us ornaments. Some of them were made out of their beer cans. Some of them were actually just designed with their logos. Some of them were just real Christmas ornaments, and it would say like such and such brewery on it. It was awesome. But then we had our guest donate ornaments on top of the ones we bought. They would bring in an ornament, and it was specifically like with their name. And the tradition was that we were going to put those ornaments up every year. Every year. And as regulars, and you could see that was their ornament, and we did that. The couple years that I was there, we did that. We didn't get a real tree again. We ended up getting the money. Our owner gave us money to get a really nice fake Christmas tree, which was fine. It was probably cheaper for him in the long haul. And we would put up those ornaments, and it was really cool because some of our guests moved, some of our regulars passed away, and to have those ornaments on the tree, it just created this tradition of bar Christmas, you know? I remember one bar I ran, it was Christmas Eve. I shut down early. My wife at the time was pissed because I left. She had all this stuff to do. I was like, gotta go to work. I told her, I was like, look, I'm going to work, but we're exchanging gifts afterwards, you know, and I'll be home later. And then she got mad, and then she's like, well, what if I wanted to come? And I'm like, you were cooking. I don't know, whatever. X's. And I had this really small pub, and I shut it down. I was like, no, we're hanging out. We literally sat outside smoking cigars, exchanging gifts, drinking whiskey. We were downtown Frisco, so it was right by all the Christmas lights. Just hanging out. It was probably, I mean, could I have made money that day? Yeah. Could I have really like capitalized on the people on Christmas Eve that, you know, didn't have anywhere to go? we kind of just did. Somebody came in and was like, man, I really want a beer. I'd go in and charge them a beer. Or I would just be like, come on, pull a seat up. And our group of 6 turned into like a group of 15 to 20. And we just hung out for about an hour or two. Well, probably about 2 hours. And I started getting my phone blown up. I was like, I better get home, get in trouble. Um, but it was a really cool experience because it was Christmas. You know, you felt that. You felt that connection. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of do miss because it doesn't happen very often. And part of that's my fault. Part of that is, you know, I don't really plan Christmas stuff with friends very often because it's a super busy time of year for me. I mean, for everybody, I'm not saying that, but I can only speak for myself. And, you know, with Luke being young and, um, you know, I want to just do everything I have with him, you know. That's why we do the little things. That's why I always do the countdown calendar to Christmas, and I try to find a unique one. This year I got him one that's these gems and rocks. Um, and it's cool because you pop open the rock, like you open it and it's got these cool little gems and rocks in there and stones, and then you can match it with the description of what it is if it's in there. Some of these are surprise ones, so it'll have like a little name on the bottom of the paper, like when you flip it it'll say the name of the rock, and then we'll go and like Google it or research it, and he puts it in his rock collection, and it's cool. And because he's not here every single day, so like when he comes back, he might have 2 days he gets to pull, you know. But it's fun, and I've done that ever since he was 3 years old. You know, I got him one that was Matchbox cars when he was really into cars, and he got like 9 different cars and supplies and like little like things to go with the cars, like a sled attachment, a sleigh, you know, a snowman, like we did that one year. We did it was SWAT team rescue or something like that. Rescue forces. It was like a generic one, but it was really cool. And every day, like he would get something. He would get an action figure. Maybe it's a SWAT team member, or he'd get a weapons arsenal. And it would be like this little tiny thing that you could make a city out of, and it would have like a shotgun, a stop sign, and then he would get a fireman one and a EMT one, and I've done that. I did. I've done the little Funko Pop ones. We did the horror Funko Pops. It's just fun. It adds to the Christmas experience. It's making the month about it instead of just the day. And I do that with Halloween. I probably do it more with Halloween, maybe. But it's the day. You know, we put up the decorations tonight, actually, or last night. 2 nights ago. I don't even know. Um, we built a small, not good at building gingerbread houses, guys. It is a pain in the butt, and most of the time they don't taste good. And the ones that you want to taste good are so expensive, but we got one. It's put out by Nestle, and it's small. And I'm like, dude, even Luke and I can do it. And it came out okay. I said okay. And, you know, he's at that age. He's a boy, number one. He's 7 years old. So he's like, oh, I don't know if I really. It's so annoying because I think it's just because he's around a lot of older people. I don't know if I really want to do it, Dad. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't want to do it? It's freaking cookies. And then once I lay it out, we put some music on, and I get him involved, he's into it. It's like the Christmas tree. We're decorating the Christmas tree. Come on, bud, help me decorate. I'm not saying he's got to do every single thing, but I want him to be part of it, you know? I want him to be part of it. It's cool to pull out the ornaments and look at them and remember when you got them. And sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we bought that? I still buy him a new ornament every year. You know, I kind of look at that as maybe I might get two, like maybe I'll buy myself one, but I always buy him an ornament every year. And when we put the Christmas tree up, I have him open it and then put it up. And this year he's like, no, I'm just going to watch this movie while you do it. I'm like, okay. And then I put out everything and he starts looking. He's like, oh, yeah, yeah, I remember this. And then he gets into it. So this year he was the guy that was putting the hooks in the ornaments. Tedious job, but he loves it. He lines them all up. And it was fun, you know, when we put out the cookies for Santa, when we write Santa. because he doesn't want to go see Santa. His whole thing is that's not the real Santa. They might work for him. There's several of them that we've run into over the years that he says, I think they work for Santa, but they're not Santa. And I'm like, okay. But now he's like, I don't want to go see him. And I'm like, okay. But he wants to write. So he writes. And now that he's writing pretty darn good, he's gotten way better. We get to put it in the mail, and it's fun, man. And I think those are the moments that, like, just, it's bigger than the gifts. It's almost bigger than the day. It's almost bigger than opening. And don't get me wrong, I love to see him open things and see what I think he's going to get excited about, and then maybe it's the opposite. Um, it's cool. I hate rapping. I suck at it, but this year, I've had him do a lot more, not of his gifts, because he bought something for his mom and his sister. And so I had him be involved I always had him be involved in it, but really now that he's 7, he can tape it and cut it. And then we got something for the cat. So him and I put that together. It's like a little mini tower. It's the jury's still out if my lazy cat's going to use it or not. I think he'll like it, but we'll see. He hasn't used it yet. He's examined it, but hasn't used it yet. But like Luke and I put that together, and then I had Luke help carry it out on Christmas. We've watched some great Christmas movies, besides the obvious like Home Alone and Elf. We watched Krampus. I'm a big Krampus fan. So this year, I let him watch it. It's not that scary. He handled it and really liked it. Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously. Red One with The Rock, which was fun. And so we've kind of picked some of those movies. He's not really into a lot of the cartoons, like the classics, but we watched Fred Claus, which is Vince Vaughn plays Santa's brother. That was funny. Like, he's into it, and I know as he gets older, those things are going to change. And I know he's going to go through that phase where he doesn't want anything to do with me. And I just hope that one day, long, long time from now, knock on wood, when I'm long and gone, I hope it resonates with him in his heart. And I hope that he remembers those moments because, I think those little moments are the best. I just don't think it's about the present, even though you might knock it out of the park with a big giant one or, like I got him a turntable last year. I think it was last year, that's cool. And you see the progression and he still likes it. Those are great. But I hope the moments of like finding that big house in the city that just goes all out and we go check it out and he hems and haws. And he's like, I don't want to go. And then he gets there. He's like, dude, this is crazy. I hope that that's what resonates with him. And whether he has kids or not, or gets married or whatever happens, I hope that he still finds joy in those memories and he can pass it down to somebody in a story and with his children and then adapt it to his own, traditions. I think it's cool. I got to be part of a parade this year. I've never, and all the things I've done, I'm not saying I've never been to a parade, but I got to be part of a parade. And I've never done that. So that was really cool. It was the McKinney Christmas Parade, and my work had a float there. And this is the second time they've done it because they've only been around a little over a year. So this location. And the theme this year was Christmas songs, and I don't know if you got assigned a Christmas song and you had to design a float around it, or if we picked, but we were Frosty the Snowman, so we had to design this, snow scene with this giant snowman that's now sitting at work. Well, it'll come down, tomorrow, I'm sure, and we're closed today anyway. So, but I got pictures of it, and it's you ride through this parade. Downtown McKinney. Lots of people there, not just people watching, lots of people involved. Big event, much bigger than I anticipated. And we handed out so much swag. I'm talking candy canes, koozies, stickers, magnets, highlighters, pins, keychains, just psh, psh, psh. And I'm thinking, it's a parade. I've seen it 100 times. Hey, wave a little celebrity. Nah, dude, it was a lot of work. Running alongside, trying to get all the kids. You don't care about the adults. You're like, you're trying to hit all the kids, and I'm running up the slide. I did 25,000 steps that day. It was insane. Then you'd sit on the parade and wave around, and we went to Tupps afterwards, and I had a good time. But it was really cool to see because they're chanting like you're like a celebrity there. It's wild. They're like, yeah, and they're chanting your name. I mean, no joke. It is. It's impressive, and the compliments we got, and thank you for being part of the community. Like, yeah, really cool experience. And I don't know if I'll be able to do that next year because I don't know if I'll be at this location next year. Most likely not, but you never know. If I am, I'm going to do it. But I don't think I'm going to be here. So I'll probably be at another one. Knock on wood, but if I am, and I'm blessed enough to have another holiday season at where I currently am, then I will definitely be part of it because I think it was not just fun for and great for the community and great for the store, but me personally. Like, I have been beyond stressed out lately about a lot of things. And I have been like almost so overwhelmed that I don't want to do anything at times. So for me to get out of my element, to get out of work, and I've been snappy at work too, and I hate it. Um, and that's over now. I'm done. But to get out of it and just be part of that, and man, what a cool experience and honor. So I'm not going to keep this long, guys. I could go on. I've got some more Christmas stories. I really just wanted to get on here, and I guess this is the last episode of the year. So, man, I can't tell you, the reason I do these podcasts. Yeah, it's great to get a little extra money. It's great to be able to pay a bill. It's great to be able to buy Christmas gifts or groceries, or put it aside for Disney like we've been doing. But obviously, I can't quit my day job. I don't make an absorbent amount of money off this. But the reason I do is because I love getting stories out there and messages out there and topics out there, and hearing from you guys, whether that be comments, text messages, emails on the website, honestly, the social media interactions, the people I've met, the people that I get to be a guest pod on, I get to be on their podcast. I'm going on a podcast next week with a guy that I've been listening to. It's a Star Wars podcast. I just got graced enough to be invited to do it. I'm so excited about it. I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't sharing all these things with you and talking about these things and watching the Life of an Average Joe podcast really develop. I mean, it's the same. It's me, but it's not just this. Oh, here's another story about a crazy adventure Brandon got into. Those are there, and especially early in the recording episodes, I was banging out some interesting stories. I still have those, but being able to tie some of these things in with what's going on today, mixing in some maybe life lessons or what I've seen in life or how I feel. It's really been cool. So next year, we've got a lot on the plate. There's a lot of changes coming. One of them is how I stream this podcast. The production level is going to be much better. I'm very excited about that. We've got some other new things added to that. I've got a couple special guests lined up that haven't been on in a while, and then I've got a couple special guests that have never been on. So we are looking at 2025, especially with the changes in social media, and the opportunities to generate income are a lot harder than they were a year ago, a lot harder than they were 2 years ago on the pod, that I'm going to have to make some changes. So we're going to keep going because a lot of podcasts don't. They give up. I've been part of several podcasts that I thought were great that are now done. I'm not mad. I mean, I don't blame the people. It's a lot of work. You don't just get up here and talk. It's exhausting, and especially if you have a co-host. If you have a co-host, then you got like two different schedules. And that's why, like Stuart and I, we have a hard time. We have a hard time getting out. We just want to go get a cup of coffee together, and we can't even do that because we're like, oh, we got time. Let's record some episodes so that the show continues. So I get it. I get why people quit. I'm not quitting. I felt like it at times. I felt like doing a final wrap-up, being like, guys, I'm done. But then I know that itch would be to start up again. And it's a lot harder to start up and try to get that fan base back and that community back. So I'm going to keep going. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. You guys are awesome. Man, the only thing I ask going into 2025 is that you continue to listen, subscribe, follow, share, engage. I know that's really not a lot, but really looking for some more reviews. So would love to get some reviews. Thank you so much. I guess I'll see you in 2025, whatever that means. Why is this not shutting off? Technical difficulties!